This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get our first look at PlayStation 5 gameplay. WB Games Montreal may not be showing off the new Batman game anytime soon. We get some new information about the very interesting looking game Scorn. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at 30 frames per second, and we could be getting a 5th season of The Walking Dead from SkyBound Games. All of these stories and quite a bit more can be found here in episode 128. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Analog Circle podcast. Now, guys, if you want to be a part of the show, if you want to call in, if you want to email the show and let your voice be heard, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email address is, of course, the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Also, if you want to find the show over on different platforms, I'm going to say this, brothers. Just type it into Google. Type in the Analog Circle Podcast onto Google, and you will find it. It'll bring up the links, and enjoy yourself. Now, guys, without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into the feedback section. Now, we're going to start things off with my man, 100 grand, Mr. Vaughn. I'm giving the microphone over to you, brother, so go ahead and take it away.
What's going on, Kiaun? This is your boy Vaughn. I'm just wanted to call in and talk about that PlayStation State of Play. I know you watched it and you're going to talk about it, but just wanted to call in and give my 2 cents about it. The Ghost of Tsushima, or however you say that. I gotta say, man, it was pretty good. It made me more interested in the game. I thought, where I knew about it, and I was going to take a wait and see on it. But now, seeing that state of play does make me want to get the game. I'm more interested in it. So I think it was a success in that respect. But I'm going to take another stance on the state of play. You gotta wonder, or at least I was, why did they do a state of play on one game? Now, remember, I've been saying a couple shows ago, now, perception is everything. So right now, the train has left the station, the hype train has left the station for Microsoft, for Xbox. Sony hasn't even gotten out of the gate or got on the train or got it started yet at this point when it comes to announcing major things about their system. They drop little hints here, and there, but nothing that's going to really shake anything up. This didn't even do that, I don't think. I mean, it got hype for the game, but not for Sony, not for PlayStation 5. So what do you think? What's your opinion on it? Right now, Microsoft is doing everything right. Even when they had that little misstep with their little show, what did they do? They came out, they apologized, and I don't believe they think they did anything wrong, but they apologized so that everybody could get over and move on to the next bomb that they're going to drop. So right now, one or two things is going to happen. Sony has got a major bomb that they're going to drop, and they're going to make people forget about everything that Xbox talked about up until this point, or they have nothing, and it's going to be a big nothing burger. So we'll see what happens. I hope it's not that way. Hope both systems come out blazing, and we hear something soon about PlayStation 5. But I want to hear what you thought about it. Talk to you later. I'm out. Peace.
My man Vaughn, first off, brother, like I tell you every time you call in, it's always great to hear from you, brother. It's great to hear your voice, and I love the questions that you ask me every time you call in. And I want to say, brother, I truly, truly appreciate the calls. Now, let's go ahead and let's get into what you were talking about. Now, I have to say, Ghost of Tsushima, or Tsushima, I don't know. I think I've been saying it wrong too, Vaughn. But Ghost of Tsushima, that game looked good, man. I mean, I was looking at it when they first showed it, state of play, all 18 minutes of it. I'm sitting there, I'm not gonna lie to you, Vaughn, that first section of exploring, exploration, and birds and foxes coming out and showing you different things, I was not moved, brother. Not even a little bit. I was sitting there and I was starting to get slightly bored. I'm like, oh, no. No. I want action, goddaggit. Action Jackson. That's what I need right now. So after the exploration part of it was over and they start showing the combat, whoo, things heated up, brother. Oh, they heated up like a stove, goddaggit. I said, man, this looks good. Now, for people out there that are saying it's a downgrade, this, that, and the third, hey, listen, man, I'm not going to get on downgrade gate. I'm not going to say all of that. What I will say is Sony has always come through. Their games always look beautiful. They look stunning. They're fantastic experiences, and that's all I really care about. However, if you do want to say it got a downgrade, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is I was impressed. I thought it was a great showing. Did it get me more excited for the game, Vaughn? I know you said that you were going to do a wait and see approach to it, but then when you saw this demo, it made you say, you know what? I'm going to push the button on it a little sooner than I would have. Now, for me, I was already sold. I was already in. You know, Tenchu, one of my favorite games back from the PlayStation era. You know, Ghost of Tsushima looked fantastic. So I was already in. So it didn't really move my thermometer one way or the other. You know, but I will say it was a great showing. Now, the question, oh, Mr. Vaughn, that you are posing is not opposing, but man, whatever. You know what question you're asking, I should say, brother, is a very, very interesting question. Now, it seems, it's very interesting that they only concentrated on one game where all of the other state of plays have shown various games all in the show or the mini show or whatever you want to call it. It's very interesting that they focused on one title. Now, could this mean, because I know you were alluding to it a little bit, Vaughn, you know, like, is Sony gonna be a little light in their chamber? Are they gonna have the games? You know, and I will say, right now, the PlayStation 5's rollout has been questionable. At bare minimum, questionable. I messed that all up. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Now, we do know, Vaughn, that it's one thing that Sony has, and that is the game. So here's the thing. This whole generation, Sony's strategy came down to two things. It was basically price and these AAA single player games. And we also know that in this generation, they were showing games 3 to 4 years out. So do I believe that they don't have anything ready? I'm not sure. I mean, the only games that I do know about, and we know that they got some coming, Vaughn. I mean, we know Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is inevitable. That's definitely going to happen. We know that Spider-Man 2 is going to happen. And even maybe a year ago, we had got rumors about the new Naughty Dog game that's supposed to be allegedly, nothing confirmed, all rumors, but allegedly a first-person shooter. So I think what it's going to come down to, Vaughn, I think Sony is going to use the same playbook. I think that right now, you're right, they aren't hyping anything up right now. I mean, no new games, no nothing. Everybody keeps making the excuse they got to get through this generation. They still got The Last of Us 2 left, and they still got Ghost left. And my whole thing is, once again, they didn't use that same strategy this generation. At the beginning, they were showing game after game in their February showcase. So for me, I think that they're going to go back to the drawing board, Vaughn. I think they're going to show us the games. And that's the one thing that Sony, they just have an advantage, man, where they don't have to necessarily rush too much. I will agree with that as far as like rushing to show us things, because we know that they have stuff in the chamber. The next God of War 2. Oh my goodness, Vaughn, come on, brother. You know, millions are looking forward to that. So I think that what Sony is going to do is they're going to concentrate on their strength, which is, you know, the games, and they're going to drip feed us. I think we're going to get some more announcements where games are going to be 3 and 4 years out before they actually come out. But it does keep the fan base excited, but it can eventually catch up to you and mess you up, because the last E3, they were like, we're not showing up because they don't have anything new to show. So it could be a double-edged sword, Vaughn. On one hand, we know the games are coming, but on the other hand, how long are we going to have to wait? So we'll have to see how this all pans out, Vaughn. I mean, I know E3 for them is probably going to be amazing. It's no probably in it. It's one thing Sony knows how to do, and they know how to put on a goddamn show. So we're going to see what happens with that. But Vaughn, very, very good question, man. I'm with you. I'm very, very skeptical. I'm wondering what's going to happen, but Sony they have that track record, brother, of bringing the games when it's all said and done. But, Vaughn, as always, brother, it's really, really great to hear from you this week, man. I really appreciate you calling in. And please, brother, continue to send me that fantastic feedback. I really, really appreciate you, brother. Now, let's go ahead and move into the second. That's right, the second, but in no way least, the second feedback. Now, this comes from my man, my guy, Mr. Free Fly Ferret, Fly Brother Fly. Now, the title of his email is Smoke and Mirrors. Oh, man, I see how we rocking with this one, brother. Uh-oh. He says, my brother. I always get a kick out of that for some reason. I just like the way he starts his emails. He says, my brother. Sorry for the absence as of late. Oh, no, you good, brother. It's all good. He says, we're in the middle of selling a home, buying a new one, and moving. Wow, you got a lot going on. He says, none of which is fun. Going from Atlanta to Noonan, Georgia. So if there is listeners from there, hit me up. Anybody in the Noonan area, hit my homeboy up, Free Fly Ferret. Invite the brother with open arms. Please, please, please. Now, he continues to say, I really think Sony pulled a quick one. Oh, shucks. I knew it was going to be rocking like this. Oh, man. He says, I think Sony pulled a quick one by showing the Unreal Engine on the PlayStation 5. Did it look great? Yes, absolutely. Will we see any games running on that engine in the next 2 years? Unlikely. Sure, it was a brilliant move, but I just want to see launch games running on these systems. What do you think? He continues to say, also you asked about Quest and its worth. To me, I did ask about that. He said, to me, it's still mostly a high-priced toy, and I would wait a couple of years until we have more high-end publishers pushing content for it and other VR systems. I see and love the possibilities, however, and Half-Life Alyx really shows that. Free Fly Ferret, brother. It's great to hear from you, man. It truly, truly is. I see you got a whole lot going on in your life. And because of that, brother, I truly, truly appreciate this email even more, man, because you're very busy trying to move, trying to sell a home. I've been there several times, brother. So it definitely is a stressful time. So I truly want to thank you for taking the time out to write on in. It truly means a lot, brother. Now you wanted to know, oh man, free fly, god dang it, brother. Now, you wanted to know about these smoke and mirrors. Now, I gotta be honest, I don't think they pulled the quick one on us, but it was a sly move, though, because, you are right, brother. There is no way on earth we're going to see anything like that demo anytime soon. And just to allude to that point, the UE5 engine isn't even coming out until 2021. So I don't think this was... it's an accurate representation, of what we can get on the very best, the best performance possible. It's no way I think this was nearly as egregious as the infamous E3 2005, where they showed us Killzone 2. God dang, that was just a bold face lie. That whole E3, if you guys go back to that 2005 E3 from Sony, man, now that Free Fly Ferret, brother, that was smoking mirrors. At the highest level, brother. Good grief, this demo, I thought it was fantastic. Free Fly, let me tell you, brother, when I was looking at this, man, the possibilities, goodness. Just what they say, I don't want to misquote the Unreal Engine dev team or whatever, but did they say it was, I might be stretching, but did he say billions of different polygon counts on the screen? Just some ridiculous number. It was fantastic to see it, Free Fly Ferret. I don't think it was smoke and mirrors. I do think, like I said just a couple of seconds ago, that it was just showing us the best possible and highest fidelity of the PlayStation 5 console. Tim Sweeney, a lot of people out there saying, oh man, this can't run on the Xbox Series X. There's people out here at the moment, and I'm sure they don't really follow this stuff like we do, that are saying that the Unreal Engine 5 is an exclusive to the PlayStation 5 system. Now, we all know this isn't true. We all know that over the years, Unreal has come out and shown various different engines. I think the last engine, UE4, was shown on the PlayStation 4, right? Where they were showing the, I forgot the name of the demo, but they just have a relationship there. And I think that, that's basically what it came down to. Sony, as it looks like to me from the outside looking in, it looks like they're somewhat scrambling for, some kind of news to give to their player base, because they have been quiet. Just like Vaughn said, he's a little worried about what's going on, and it just seems like they haven't been out there chanting and just, out there working, showing the PlayStation 5 off lately. So I think this was a nice distraction to get people to understand that this is what we can expect on the console. And to be fair to Free Fly Ferret, they did say that this demo was supposed to have been at the Game Developers Conference, and we all know that conference, as well as so many other shows in the gaming industry, got canceled. So maybe this was already originally part of the rollout of the PlayStation 5, but because of, COVID-19, things did a hard slant left, and they just had to find another way to promote it. But I think it was pretty cool, man. I loved the demo. And the thing about it is, like I was saying, Sony, they know how to put on a show. And that's what people were talking about with the Xbox, the Inside Xbox. Is one thing Xbox does. They don't seem to, when it comes to their shows, they don't overpromise on the graphics. We can go back to that same year, E3 2005, when Microsoft was showing off their games versus PlayStation showing off theirs. Xbox, they were showing what could definitely be done on the console. They might have even kind of undersold the power of the 360 at the time, but PlayStation, they go for the glitz and the glam and just the jaw-dropping moment. So I think that they're just following the course that they've always followed, PlayStation. And I think that, eventually, in due time, it usually takes the devs 2 to 3 years to start to get a real firm grip and a good hold on what next generation can bring. And I wouldn't expect anything, just like you said, Free Fly Ferret, anything like that, for a minimum of 2 to 3 years. But Free Fly, as always, brother, God dog, it's really great to hear from you. I truly hope that everything goes as smoothly as possible when it comes to your selling of your home and the move. And I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves, man. Be careful out there. And thank you so much for the email, brother. Really, really appreciate it. Now, with that being said, guys, talking about appreciation, I want to go ahead and let you guys know I have right here a Xbox Game Pass Ultimate 1 month subscription thing here, a card. So for anybody that wants to have a month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, go ahead and get your pencils out, get your pens out. Matter of fact, go ahead and get your markers out. So get ready to write this code down. So here we go. Now the code is as follows: YHM 4 YYM H7R 6P HFP 3R 3Y 3JQM 7Z. Go ahead and write that down. This is for 30 days of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Play 100 games, be on Xbox Gold or whatever the case may be, and enjoy yourself. It's just a small token. I mean, like I say all the time, it truly means, all joking aside, truly means so much, to me that you guys tune in. I'm a smaller podcast, and all of the support that I've been getting, it means so much to me. So that is truly just my way of just giving a little bit back to the Analog Circle community as a thank you from me to you. So anybody out there that gets it, if you want to call in and let me know that you got it, or email the show, you can call the number at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast. Let me know you got it so I can shout you out. Now, with that being said, guys, man, what have I been into this week? Man, brothers, I'm going to tell you, I couldn't really get into much of anything because I am back running at full capacity. Matter of fact, today, I believe I will be going up to Connecticut, so I have not had time to get into any games. Trucking is pretty much full swing back into it. Well, I'm back into it pretty much full swing now, so not too much time to really get into any games. But with that being said, man, let's just skip all of that. Well, we can't skip it. I just said it. But anyway, let's go ahead, though, and get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. Now, this first story is once again found on Rumorville Boulevard, so take this with a mustard seed. I do mean a mustard seed of truth. But a rumor is circulating on social media that there will be 2 starter pack variants of the PlayStation 5. Now, one being the premium version, which will come with a larger SSD, which will allegedly cost, the price of this system is freaking ridiculous. It's going to cost allegedly $648, or you can go with the basic console pack for $540. So this rumor is coming from Reddit user u/Daniel Orca, you spell that Mallorca, 1985, who is claiming that the only difference between the two consoles is the size of the SSD. Now, allegedly, the premium version will come with a 1.65 terabyte SSD, and the basic console will come with the standard 825 gigabyte SSD. And just to cover some backstory on this post, the original poster states the source of this information as a meeting between Sony executives and managers for the UK-based retailer Game, which is a popular large gaming retailer over in the UK. Now, my gosh, can you guys imagine having prices that, first of all, like I said, this is rumors, and I love rumors because it's always great to see if they actually happen to come out to be true. And right now, we have no idea what the Series X is going to cost. We have no idea what the PlayStation 5 is going to cost, but so many people believe that the PlayStation 5 is going to come in at that magic $399 price point. Now, once again, this is Rumorville we're talking here. Can you imagine $540? Now, first off, I don't believe these prices are accurate. I really don't. But I think maybe, okay, we'll attack it from this point of view. $540. I would say, I don't think they're going to put $40 on it. I think if it's anything, it'll be $500. And then the $648, I think if that is the case, it'll just be a flat $6. But man, is that something that you guys would be interested in? Would you want the option? And if you did have the option, would you pay that much? We're talking $600 allegedly for a 1.65 terabyte SSD. I don't know, man. It's very, very interesting. We see that Microsoft, they're going about it a little bit of a different way, where they're basically making their storage basically like memory cards. Now, how much of those going to be? I don't know. Seagate, they're going to have the market to themselves for a while. It's an exclusive deal, I believe, with them. So they could definitely attack our pockets very, very aggressively. But we'll have to see what happens with this. Man, do you guys believe that these consoles, well, the PlayStation console could come out, PlayStation 5 that is, at $500 or $600? Very, very interesting news. We'll have to see. E3 is coming, y'all. Well, it's not technically E3, but y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I mean. Let's go ahead and let's talk about some more Sony news, because Sony was pretty busy this week. I mean, with the tech demo, with Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, good grief. They were in the news this week. So let's go ahead and let's talk about some more Sony stuff. Now, this was pointed out by Nibel on Twitter. Hopefully I'm saying this brother name right. Nibel? 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 Or Nibel? On Twitter, where he discovered some verbiage in a Sony job listing for a role in the SIE materials department, says that the successful applicant will, quote, work with the design department and the quality assurance department to create the PlayStation 5 scheduled to release in October 2020. End of quote. Now we know that COVID-19 has happened, and it could be possible that this was a release date at one time or another. So as always, take this with a mustard seed of truth. I mean, it says it right there. October 2020. Wait a second. Wait a minute. We had an update on this story. God dog it, man. I ain't paying attention. Actually, this was debunked. Good gosh, man. Good gracious, man. Paying attention is doggone needed. Now, this is the thing, man. Basically, Sony came out over on Twitter, actually the same guy, Nibel, over on Twitter, he got in contact with Sony where they denied the October release date and said it was an error by the recruitment site. Now, who knows? Is it true? Is it false? Could the PlayStation 5 had originally been coming out in October versus November, which is usually the more popular month? But then again, that whole thing has been debunked because Nintendo broke the whole mold when they came out with the Switch and got doggone March. So, I mean, anytime a console can release, and I think it'll sell as long as there is a demand for it. But it's just so interesting that it wasn't even a leak. It was just out there for anybody to see. And it was saying October 2020, that was going to be the PlayStation 5's release schedule. So do you guys believe that October was originally the date? And because of COVID-19 happening, it derailed all of Sony's upcoming announcements. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to go extreme with this and say, good grief, because of COVID-19, it just messed everything up. But man, that could have been one heck of a doggone strategy to possibly release a whole month before your competition, because you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, it might have been maybe a month or two now ago, that it was that post that was up that was saying that the Xbox Series X was going to release in November, and then that got pulled down. So it could have been, man, it would have just been so interesting to see if this scenario was true. I mean, we're hearing, once again, it's been debunked. But if it was true that Sony was releasing in October and Microsoft was releasing in November, my gosh, how the world would that have played out? It would have been very, very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and move on into the next story. And this is a very, very controversial one here. Man, it led to the question of the week, actually. So let's talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Oh my gosh. Because last week the game was getting dirt thrown all over it. Not because of the gameplay reveal necessarily, but the fact that the game would run at 30 frames per second. So Ubisoft, of course, you know, they caught wind of this. They heard the negative feedback and all of that stuff and the backlash, and they actually made a statement to IGN which says, and I quote, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will run at a minimum. You see how they try to put that verbiage in there? A minimum of 30 frames per second. On Assassin's Creed Valhalla, we are committed to offer the best experience to our players by immersing them in the most beautiful worlds and environments we could create, and leveraging not only the graphics enhancements offered by the next generation of consoles, but also faster loading times and the new architectures. End of quote. Now they're saying, now there was an update to this story, god dog. Now I just saw this. I mean, I'm actually looking at it right now, where they actually came out and they just said that the reason why they were choosing to go at 30 frames per second was because the game is going to be in full 4K. And because of that, they want to make sure that the fidelity could be at the highest level that it could be at. And I guess, now this is me saying this, I guess in order for that to happen, they had to knock it down to 30. But it seems like, now keep in mind, I'm not a spec guy. This is not my stronghold at all as far as the way the technology works with the 12 teraflops and all of that stuff, the SSDs. That's not really where I'm strong at too much when it comes to the conversation. But I listen to other people, and they say, and I can only go off of what they say, and of course, they're not in the industry either, some of these guys, but they say that they could definitely do this with these next generation consoles, that they are more than capable. So because of this, they think that the devs could be being a little, man, they're not putting their best foot forward, I'll say, because I truly don't believe that there is a lazy dev. I think that gets thrown around a little too loosely at times, because man, it's hard work. I'll just say that, like I said, maybe their best foot wasn't being put forward when it comes to, the project, but we'll see what happens with this. Of course, Aaron Greenberg, man, oh man, good old Aaron Greenberg. That brother might have jumped the gun where he said all games are going to be at 60 frames per second. Now, he could have truly meant, because man, the internet don't forget a goddamn thing. They was roasting my dude, Aaron. They were like, oh man, he spoke too soon. He's out of the loop, this, that, and the other. I think what Aaron was talking about, and I'm just assuming here, that he meant that all of their games, the first party games, will run at 60 frames per second. And we know that Phil Spencer has come out and already said that they're not putting a mandate on the developers, having them do minimum 60 frames per second. They can do what they want to do. So it's not like Microsoft can tell Ubisoft, hey, make it 60 frames per second or you can't be on the console. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Plus they have I believe some kind of, a deal with them. What do you call it? The advertising or whatever is with Microsoft. So of course they're not going to do that. Ubisoft is a huge publisher and developer. So we'll have to see how this whole thing comes out. But man, we're going to talk about this 30 frames a little later in the show. And I know you saw the question, so go ahead and call in if you want and go ahead and give your answers right now. But let's go ahead and move over into the next story. So we're going to shift focus over to PC. Yeah, I don't talk about PC too much. I don't really have nothing against the PC players, not the cool ones. That's not with that PC master race BS, man. Bump your PC, brother. I can care less about that mother lover. Y'all ain't got no exclusive anyway. Man, I might be showing, little hate towards them. I ain't hate. It's just, man, these guys, they really get on my nerves with this console and PC BS. But anyway, I'm going to show y'all some love this week, all right? That's what it's about. Let's go ahead and embrace. It's all about love. So, it's a gentleman named Pavel. Man, I hope I get this brother name right. Y'all know I ain't good with no names. His name is Pavel Jundik. I think you you spell it D-J-U-N-K, D-I-K. Jundik. Yeah. Anyway, man, let's get to the story. God dang. Now, he runs a Steam database that has no association with Valve, but has been known for leaking things in the past. So one interesting thing that he discovered, and he believes, is that Valve is working on a loyalty program. Now, none of this is confirmed, but it has data. But his data is correct. Now, it could include a point system with points being collected and used for a number of digital rewards, including badge levels. And it's a possibility that, I just belched, my fault, that Valve will allow points to be cashed in for discounts on games. And Valve is also, this is just something on the side, Valve is having a summer sale that starts on June 25th through July 9th. That was something else he found. So this is really cool. Now, Valve, oh man. Steam store, brother. I think this is all under the Steam store. Valve, I think they own it or whatever. Man, I'm going to tell you, man, good gosh. The system sounds great. It sounds cool. A loyalty program. Hey, being able to buy games off of points, that is awesome. But I think that any gamer out there, and I know it's people that don't rock with, what is it? Good grief, man. Forgetting the name of the store. The other store that's out there that's competing with Steam, they would much rather just rock with Steam. But I'm going to tell you, man, those guys on the other side, they are getting the doggone games, brother. And we're all gamers. This is the hobby we enjoy. We love it. Without the games, what are we doing? So with the other service, and I can't remember the name of it, I might remember it later. I know somebody's probably yelling it at me, but those guys are getting exclusives. Matter of fact, didn't they just give away GTA 5 for free? I mean, man. That is absolutely amazing. So I would think that during these upgrades, it's cool and all, but I would think the Epic Games Store, that's what it is. I would think that the players would want you to get some more exclusives on your platform, or make sure that the Epic Games Store isn't getting the exclusives and that they're being distributed amongst you guys evenly. But man, Valve or Steam, they ain't out there fighting. God dog, they so big, they so hefty, they got so much of a player base, they ain't even worried. They know you gonna come see them, they're your plug, and you ain't gonna go see nobody else. God dag, man, this is crazy. But if this is cool, not if it's cool, if this is true, and it's a nice feature though. But let's go ahead and move on into some other gaming news. And I want to say truly and surely, PC guys out there, I got no beef with the guys out there that play your PC games. Y'all enjoy them. Y'all don't try to come down on console gamers, calling us console peasants and all of that BS, and you all up on your high horse. Ain't got no beef with y'all. Let's go ahead and move into some remastered news. So for Tony Hawk fans, Activision has announced a new remaster collection of the first two Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. Now, the games will feature online play, a course builder, updated visuals, and most, not all, but most of the original soundtrack will return. Now, the game will release September 4th for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, god darn, via the Epic Game Store. Another one. God darn. Man. Shaking my head. Good gosh. Now I'm going to tell you, this game really looks like a remaster. It doesn't look like they went in there, they tinkered a little bit here and there. The animations, it looks good. It looks really clean, really smooth. I know it's been a lot of people out there that have been wanting Skate to make a comeback, Tony Hawk or whatever, and now you officially have a Tony Hawk game of Pro Skater 1 and 2 coming out, and it's remastered. You guys gotta check it out. It looks really good, especially for anybody that was a huge fan of the originals. Let's go ahead and move into some quick news. Now, in quick news, Ironman VR will release. It actually has a new release date finally. The game is going to release on July 3rd. Good grief, one day before doggone 4th July. This is great. This game was supposed to have been out a couple of months ago, I think, back in March. I think it was supposed to have released maybe in March or April, somewhere around there. So, but nonetheless, it's Ironman VR. It's a game that looks very, very interesting. I had had my eyes on it for quite some time. Matter of fact, wasn't Ironman VR one of the first games that they showed at State of Play? I think this was, one of the first ones they showed on that State of Play. Well, one of the first State of Plays is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, July 3rd, mark it on your calendar. Now, it's some possibly, good grief, this news story. This is some possibly very disappointing news. WB Games Montreal sent out a tweet that it doesn't sound too promising. Now, they said, quote, "Thank you very much for the enthusiasm for our next project. At this time, our channel will showcase the studio, who we are, and why we love making games. So stay tuned." End of quote. Man, oh man, oh man. So, one very important takeaway I got from this is, if you were looking forward to seeing the next Batman game, keep waiting, because nowhere in this tweet did they say anything about showing off the project. Instead, they want to showcase, quote, I might add, showcase the studio. Brother, god dang, WB. Man, listen, brother, we have been waiting for the Batman game for quite some time. I have been a huge fan. Arkham Origins, man, that game got a bad rap, brother. That game it's been great so far. I've had no complaints. So with WB Montreal, of course, they were the ones that made Origins, being back on the scene with this alleged new Batman game that y'all have been teasing us with for quite some time now. You mean to tell me that you just want to showcase the studio and why y'all love making games? And I mean, who y'all are? I mean, all due respect, brothers and sisters that work at the studio. I understand you might want to show off your characteristics or, who y'all are, but man, gamers just want to see the games, man. We just want to see the Batman game. Could it switch? Could somewhere down the line at this summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley, I know he had him on the docket, or at least I thought I read that they were supposed to be on the show. Could this switch around and actually end up being something positive and we see something? Or is it going to be, it just came to my mind, god dang it, is it going to be a situation where at E3, EA, when everybody was looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda, when they had that doggone EA event where they were showing the devs in the studio and they were just showing little bits and pieces and clips of the game of Andromeda, we're like, what the frick is this? We want to see the game. We don't want to see little bits and pieces on your monitor. We want the real gameplay. Is it going to be that kind of situation where they're in the studio, they're showing it off and, interviewing Tim and interviewing Sarah and Beanie on the side. I don't know who the frick would be called Beanie, but y'all know what I'm saying. And then they just, at a glance, you see him talking and you just see the monitor there and you see like a Batman logo or something. Man, I hope this is not what we are going to get. But right now, it does not sound promising. It sounds like, man, we could be waiting quite a bit more time for this to come out. We don't know if this is a current generation game or next generation game or if it's cross-gen. Nobody knows anything. We'll have to stay tuned, keep our fingers crossed, and hope that we get something. I mean, a morsel. I mean, god dog, just enough to wet our beaks of information, confirmed information on this new Batman game. God dang. Now let's go ahead, man. Let's talk about, in this next story, Mr. Vince Zampella. Now he sat down with IGN this week and was asked, could we look forward to any announcements from Respawn at EA's upcoming Play event? Now Zampella, he responded by saying, and I quote, "We have Medal of Honor Above and Beyond coming out sometime this year. So we'll see if that shows up." Now, an EA rep continued the conversation by saying it's safe to assume that, yes, you might see some things from Respawn at EA Play. And then Zampella, he jumped back in with a smile on his face and said, quote, "The other things I would be hesitant to talk about because I want surprise and delight for fans." Now, Zampella also dropped a few more gems in this interview by saying that DICE LA will be renamed so they can have their own identity, and their first game that they'll be making is likely to be a shooter running on the Frostbite engine. Now, Zampella also said, and I quote, "The team is a shooter team," end of quote. Now, as far as Titanfall's future is concerned, and this is a big one for me because I loved the second Titanfall, he said, and I quote, "There's nothing currently in development." He said, at some point, I would personally like to see some kind of resurrection there. We'll see if I can make that happen. End of quote. And lastly, when asked about a Jedi Fallen Order sequel, Zampella said, once again, and I quote, I will say that Andrew Wilson alluded to something. Now, for you guys that don't know, Andrew Wilson is the CEO of EA. But he continued to say, but I will say that the team is hiring. Put the word out. End of quote. So here we get quite a few pieces of information. First off, man, heartbreaking to hear that no new Titanfall game is being worked on at the moment. Zampella said, hey, maybe one day he'll be able to bring it back, resurrect it. But as of right now, no new Titanfall. God dang, that stings. Oh, that stings, because I was hoping. That was one of the things that I was so looking forward to when it came to EA's show, that they were going to show a new Titanfall off. But outside of that piece of information that really hurt my heart, he did say that it sounds like Jedi Fallen Order will be getting a sequel. I mean, good grief, the game sold like gangbusters. It was reviewed very, very well. So it would only make sense that EA would greenlight a second game. And like he said, like Zampella said, the team is hiring. So they're beefing up, I'm sure, to get ready for that second game. Now, the other thing that he said, and I had mentioned this earlier in the conversation, he said that they have a new Medal of Honor above and beyond that's being released this year, actually, which is very interesting. I mean, is this going to be on current gen? Is it going to be on next gen? Or is it going to be cross gen? Because you know that Battlefield, the new one, isn't coming out until next year. So this actually makes sense that EA quite possibly could be putting Medal of Honor above and beyond on this next generation of consoles, so they don't have to worry about that big, huge AAA banger coming out, of their studio. They're not going to miss out on any money. Now, is Medal of Honor one of the bigger games nowadays? Nah, not really, but that's not to say that it can't gain some kind of traction and momentum. We'll have to see though, but I thought that was very interesting that they do have a full-fledged AAA game. I mean, out of everything, a Medal of Honor coming out this year. And the last thing that stood out, and I mean, I read this stuff, I'm just kind of recapping it, was the fact that DICE LA, they're getting their own studio. And I believe they had helped with a few projects. They were more so the B team, where they would just come in to help clean up a project. They didn't necessarily have their own team. So it does make sense that Zampella would say they will be naming themselves something else in due time so that they can feel like they have their own identity. So it's going to be very interesting. Things are coming together over there at EA. I would say Vince Zampella, he was a humongous pickup, and I believe his new position, he actually got promoted, right, y'all? Didn't he? I believe his new position will have him overseeing multiple projects. And right now, Zampella, he's batting pretty much darn near 1,000 right now. The guy's been fantastic. So I'm sure that all of these upcoming projects, they are going to be in fantastic hands. Now let's go ahead and move into the next story. So this week we got some Scorn news. That H.R. Geiger or Giga, whatever that guy's name was. I mean, man, salute to him. We got some more news on that game. Now it's not mind-blowing news, but it is a little interesting. Now, the game's director, once again, man, this brother, now I'm going to just call him by his last name. I believe his last name is Peklar. It's spelled Peklar. And if any of you guys were wondering what his first name is, of course, this is the game's director. His first name is spelled Ljubomir. Jumbamir? eligible. Man, listen, I'm not doing this right now. We won't get into this story, God dog it. Now, when he was asked what was the thinking behind releasing Scorn for Xbox Series X, he said, and I quote, "It was about bringing it in line with the PC version." He continued by saying, "We don't want to make any compromises, and Series X certainly enables us to do just that." End of quote. Now, we also found out from Mr. Peckler that the game will be using the Unreal 4 engine. And for people that have already seen the game's demo from 2017, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh man, this is old. Man, I can't believe they showing off Scorn. This thing been around for years." Now, for people that are talking about that demo from 2017, Peckler said, and I quote, "That pre-alpha level we showed is about 80% different right now. That demo was created to show backers we can develop a proper game and an overall potential of what the game could be. It wasn't supposed to be a final representation of the game." End of quote. Now, when he was asked would the game be coming to other platforms, he simply said he couldn't discuss that information. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, Peckler said, and I quote, "It's pretty much 50-50 when it comes to gunplay and puzzles, all wrapped up in an atmosphere that will elevate it much further than the sum of its parts." End of quote. So right here we see that, man, information, one thing, it's running on the Unreal Engine 4 engine, which is a fantastic engine. I had actually looked at this game. I had never seen the game before, right? So I said, you know what? Everybody's talking about this demo, saying it's old and this, that, and the third. So I went in with very, very low expectations. Because I'm like, okay, well, if the game has already been out there, I don't know how good it's going to look. Man, good grief. Listen. Look, I don't want to oversell this thing, okay? I know I get excited at times, but man, that game looked good, man. It looked pretty daggone good. It looks like, I would have to say, if you ask me, what does the game remind you of? At this very second in my mind, the only thing that I can come up with is it reminded me of Prey back on the Xbox 360. It just has some kind of art style like that. The weapons are just some crazy stuff. I don't know if the weapon is alive, if it's a creature, if it's a animal on the planet. I don't know what kind of ammo the Joker is using. It's just a very interesting looking game. Anybody out there that wants to know what this game looks like, I'm telling you, look it up on YouTube. If anything else, I would think a person would say, man, it does look interesting. And one of the other things that the games director, he mentioned, was that they didn't want to compromise. They said that the Xbox Series X, they wanted to make sure that, well, he said that, he didn't want to compromise, and he wanted to make sure that it was in line with the PC version, and that the Xbox Series X does just that, which is fantastic. So, this is going to be so interesting, man, having 50-50, when it comes to gunplay and puzzles, all wrapped up into one present with a bow on top of it. It's cool, man. It's great to see a game that it doesn't just solely focus on just gunplay, which I love action. That is my thing. I don't want too many low beat points, where it's so much story going on and not enough doggone gameplay happening, so with him actually saying that it's going to be a 50-50 mix, I think that's a nice balance where you might need a minute to breathe from the action, have a puzzle to take care of, and then you're back blasting your gun, man. I love it. I really, really love it. So looking forward to seeing more on this. This really, really piqued my interest when I saw the game. And I have high hopes for it. And who knows? Is this a Microsoft exclusive? The guy, he did not say it. He said, look, man, I can't. No comment. You ain't getting me in the trick bag. No comment. So we'll have to wait and see. Microsoft could be out here really working to get these exclusives, man. We'll have to wait and see, man. Let's go ahead and move on into the next story. Now, this is a quick update. The TurboGrafx 16 Mini will now release on May 22nd for $100, and you can purchase it over on Amazon. I believe this was supposed to have came out in March sometime, and because of COVID-19, COVID just been wrecking everything. It got pushed back, but thankfully, hey, it's later on this month. TurboGrafx, I said it once and I'll say it again. It was a very, very great system. I'm not going to say it was underrated. It might have been a little more expensive than people wanted to pay, but they definitely had some fantastic games on there. Splatterhouse being one of the bigger titles that they had. Vigilante, another game that I used to love to play in the arcade and couldn't believe that game was arcade perfect. When I played it on the TurboGrafx 16, my goodness. I said, this is the arcade version. I was blown away. Vigilante, that's another game. What was it? Good grief, man, it just slipped my mind. It was another big one. China Warrior. I had never seen character models that big at the time in life. I mean, these jokers look life size on the screen. I mean, you compare China Warrior to a game like Kung Fu. I mean, ain't even no comparison, brother. My good, Kung Fu was dope. I loved it. Where he did the little woo thing, man, goddamn, you got me wilding over here, man. But listen, this doggone TurboGrafx 16 Mini is gonna be out, goddamn, May 22nd. My goodness, man. Let me move on to the next story. Good gracious. Had some great games on that doggone console, man. Good gosh. I look forward to getting it. But, and more quick news. Now, gotta say congrats to Sony for officially selling 110.4 million lifetime units of the PlayStation 4. Now, during this time, this is for the last fiscal year, but during that time, they also sold 13.6, no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong number. They sold 245 million units of software in that same time. Now, this number, you guys might remember, man, quite a few podcasts ago, I made a bold claim, man. Could look like I'm gonna eat some crow on that joint, too. I said that the PlayStation 4 would outsell the PlayStation 5. Man, I don't think that's gonna happen, brothers. The PlayStation 5, if you didn't know, that joker still stands. Well, of course it's going to still stand. I mean, it's what it is. The number of units that sold was 155 million. And the PlayStation 4 is at, god dang, 110.4. I don't think it's going to happen. Is it going to get close? I don't even think it's going to get close. Because to me, close would be around 130 million. Does the PlayStation 4 have enough left in the tank to move an extra 20 million units at this time in its life cycle? And we know that Sony, they don't kill off their consoles right away. They linger for like an extra 3, maybe 4 years. I mean, they just have them in the background and they'll just be getting the 2Ks and the Maddens on the console. I mean, I just don't know. I think that the PlayStation 2, I truly thought the PS4 was going to be able to do it. I mean, I'll stand by that. I gotta die on that hill, but I thought that it could do it because of the games lineup. Just amazing game after amazing game after just incredible experience. So they had the momentum this whole generation. I figured that, man, there's no way they can't beat that number, but man, I just don't know if they got it in the tank, man. I mean, even if it's on the shelf, like I said, another 2-3 years, I think 4 is really pushing it, but I don't know. I think it's going to happen. Anyway, congrats to Sony, though. That is a huge milestone. I think, don't quote me on it, but it's the third best-selling console of all time. I believe it is. I know the DS or one of Nintendo's handhelds had the number 1 spot. And, I don't know. I think it's number 3 or something like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on into the final story of the week. And somebody correct me on that. Where does it rank? But let's go ahead now for the final story this week. It's another rumor, so take it all with a mustard seed of truth. So it seems the Walking Dead Telltale series may not be dead, no pun intended, after all. Now, of course, we know the IP was taken over by SkyBound Games when Telltale shut down, where they had finished up the, quote, final season. Now, way before this rumor even started that we're going to get into, way before this started circulating, the original devs did say that the final season was meant to be the end of Clementine's story, but not the game series. So this alleged leaker, he claims that the 5th season is going to be dubbed The Walking Dead: A Fatal Frontier, and he's saying that it is in development right now, and it won't include season 5 in the title. And he says they are going to be changing the structure to move away from episodic to about the same length as a standard Telltale game, which is very, very interesting. Wow. The whole length, huh? Now he's also saying that it will be less focus on choices, coming with more elements of survival horror and basic dialogue options. And he also says that the game's inspirations come from Resident Evil and The Evil Within Part 2. Now, in its structure, within its structure. Now, as far as the story is concerned, it will follow the events of season 3, where Javier, will team up with Kenny to find Clementine while being hunted by an old faction from Richmond responsible for its fall. Now, the last thing the leaker says, and this is really, really gutsy. Now, this guy's saying that The Walking Dead: A Fatal Frontier will be officially revealed at the PC Game Show, which is supposed to happen on June 6th. And the game will be, here we go again, Epic Game Store exclusive. God dang it. But it will also release on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. My goodness. With no word on the next generation of consoles. Good gosh. Can you imagine? Once again, rumors, people. Rumors. But can you guys imagine? I'm going to tell you, I was a big fan. Now I have this whole season upstairs. All 4 seasons. Man, my man John. Shout out to John, man. This guy told y'all I got more games that are wrapping it up than a museum got talking. This Joker has not been played yet. But I'll say that I've played, of course, Batman. Oh my goodness, a Telltale game. Batman. Phenomenal. If anybody, look, man, I know it's a couple of years old, but that game holds up extremely well. One of the best Telltale games I have ever played. Keep in mind, my Telltale game history isn't that lengthy. The only other game I played, which I was going to mention, was a Wolf Among Us, which I thought was fantastic at the time, but when I played that Batman game, God dog, really blew my socks off, man. So I can only imagine that as the years went on and man, I'm saying a lot of ands here, but as Telltale got better with their craft, I know that last season was amazing. I played the demo of the final season, and that made me want to buy the whole kit and caboodle. So I know that if they get back into it, and I understand that Telltale, they're not officially working on this. It's SkyBound Games, but I just have a feeling that if they get back in there and this whole thing is true, I think this could be amazing. And I love the fact that if this story is true, that you won't have to wait for it to be episode after episode after episode, but you will get the full season in the one game. That is awesome. And that's one reason why I never really got into a lot of the Telltale games, was because I didn't want to wait and be left on a cliffhanger to have to wait for the next season or the next episode, as it were, to come out, because I'm like, man, how long is that going to take? So with this new format, them not putting a lot of focus on choices, but, you know, having it be based on survival, well, at least elements of survival horror, man, this could be very, very interesting. What a twist. Really looking forward to seeing if this is true. June 6th, we are less than a month away to see if this leaker had the right information. We shall see. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the gaming news this week. My goodness, man. What a time. What a time. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the final section of the podcast. Now, you guys know I alluded to it earlier, and I know you guys saw it when you clicked on the podcast, and I appreciate you for it. But I want to officially jump on in. Now, my question to you guys is, should 30 frames per second be the standard for next generation? I tell you, man, everybody lost their mind when they found out that doggone Assassin's Creed Valhalla was not going to be 60 frames per second. Some people, they didn't care. Other people cared. I mean, it got to the point where when people saw that demo, though, that PlayStation 5 demo, running at 30 frames per second at, I believe it was 1440p or 1444p, somewhere around there. All of that went out the window. I don't care. 30 frames per second is great. It's beautiful. But there are other people that they want that generational leap with the frames per second. They're like, yeah, the 4K is cool. I like it. That's nice. But I'm tired of playing games at 30 frames per second. Give me the 60. I want the 60 frames. So my question to you guys is, should next generation standard be 60 frames per second? Me personally, I gotta tell y'all, man, I never really noticed it, but playing a game like Call of Juarez, which is, of course, is a 360 game, backwards compatible, and playing a game like Gears 5, I don't know what it is, but I am starting to feel like the movements, you know, at 30 frames, it's a little slow. I don't know how to explain it. Like playing Doom Eternal, I know that's not a constant 60 frames per second, especially not on my Xbox. I got the Xbox Big Bone, brother. I got the launch edition, you know, so I know it ain't running at a steady 60, but it's something about the frame rate that makes the game just feel smooth. So for me, I would love for a game to have 60 frames per second because it does add an element of smooth gameplay. Now, if you ask me, you know, if I have to choose, you know, fidelity versus the 60 frames that could make the gameplay better, I'm not going to lie, man. These next generation consoles are going to be beastly, man. I think even the low end games are still going to look great. So for me, I would take the performance over the glitz and the glam and the 4K native, along with ray tracing and all of that stuff. And I think this could be solved. Once again, I talked about this earlier, which I was hoping will be a feature for this next generation. All of this can be solved by simply letting the console player choose if they want performance mode or if they want the graphically intense mode. That's all you got to do. I know it's been something over on PC for forever. They're able to do these things, and these consoles are moving closer and closer to a PC architecture. So I think that would be a great medium point for these developers to say, hey, you choose, whatever you want the experience to be, you make that choice, and we'll just make sure that we give you the options to play the game that you want to play and experience. So that's my question to you guys. If you guys want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I gotta say it. I have to say it. Thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode. I really, really appreciate it. I have a great time with you guys. It's always fantastic to talk to you guys. It's great. I love it. Thank you guys so much. So important to me. But with that being said, we're going to get the heck up out of here, man. But before we get out of here, remember one thing. It is not about the consoles, ladies and gentlemen and brothers and sisters. It is about the games. So until next week, when we do it again, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.